calling out for the mercy of Shri Shri Radha Golokananda, Giriraj Govardhan, and Shri Shri Panchatattva. And let's loudly chant, right? Calling out for the mercy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai. Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for joining us. So as we announced, we'll have the class now on the glories of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur by His Holiness bkgoswami Goswami Maharaj. Right? And after the class, we'll have Pushpanjali. Okay. So request everyone, if you can kindly come forward for the class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Aditya Narayan Prabhu. And we'd like to welcome everybody to New Goloka. Today is a very special day on the Vaishnava calendar. It's the commemoration of the disappearance day of a great personality, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura, who is the spiritual master of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and also Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is his father. And of course, he was initiated by Srila Gorkashordas Babaji Maharaj. And he is known by various names like the Shinga Guru, and I'll explain why. And he's also the right-hand man of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I'll explain why that's stated by myself. And anyway, so many statements about it, but we'll get to the explanations. Is that going to fit? Is that a nose garland? Okay, it fit. So anyway, so what we're going to do first is there's this very nice prayer, which is written by another acharya named Narottama Das Thakur. And this prayer is basically, I would say it's a generic prayer that we always chant when we're commemorating the disappearance day or days of great personalities. Although Srila Narottama Das Thakur wrote it in relationship with his associates, still Prabhupada considered it to be like a generic prayer that should always be chanted on the days of disappearance. So thank you very much. Oh, you're going to put it up there. That's very good. Okay. And try to follow. Let's see. Hopefully, Aditya Narayan Prabhu can get it up there in enough time. It's called Saparshada Gora Viraha Vilapa. So the word viraha means basically separation. So experiencing the separation of the Lord and his devotees. So when a great devotee leaves the planet, we experience great separation. And of course, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati left the planet a long time ago, but still hearing about him, we can lament that we weren't there when he was on the planet, and we could feel separation. For example, if we go to Vrindavan, where Krishna appeared over 5,000 years ago, we can feel separation from Krishna and from Radharani and from the other associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this mood of separation can be invoked even if we never physically met the personality, just by hearing about the personality. And for those of you who didn't directly meet His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, can feel that mood of separation from Srila Prabhupada just by talking to his disciples, like myself and Purvaji and Drishna Prabhu, who is here, and other disciples of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, just by being in their presence, talking about them, hearing memories of Srila Prabhupada. So we're trying to invoke this mood of separation, which means hankering. Separation doesn't mean simply, oh, I'm separated. It means we hanker for something. We hanker for their association. And when these great devotees are no longer with us in the physical realm, then we can associate with them through something called the Vani, or the instructions of these great devotees. So this is what this poem is about. So we'll chant it just one time through. Ye Anila Premadana Korana Pracho. Henu Prabhu Kotagela Acharya Thakur Kamora Saruprupa Katsanaktakam Kakataso Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kahamurabhata Yuga Kakaviras Ekakale Kotakela Goran Nataras Ashane Hutivo Mata Annale Bashibo Goranga Go Neranere Kota Gele Pamo Say Sabah Sangira Sange Ye Koino Vilas Say Sangana Payakande Naruto Das Jaya Nilo Prema Dana Karuna Pracho Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravadikacharya God, His divine grace Abhaya Chananana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shrilas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadha Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasadevi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarni. So I'm going to read the translation to this Vaishnava poem. Saparsha Gora Viroha Vilapa. He who brought the treasure of divine love and it was filled with compassion and mercy. Where is such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kavi Raj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? What's that? Translation. That's all right. I think everyone here understands English. Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. So today, as I mentioned before, we are commemorating the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we're going to speak a little bit about his life and teachings. So Om Ganat Timidanda Shah, Gananjana Shlakya, Chakshurun Meditam, Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. And so after the class, we're going to have Pushpanjali and an RT, right? We're set up for an RT for him. Yeah. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as I mentioned before, is known as Nrsimha Guru because, as we find in Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantra, what? Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari, that Srila Prabhupada one of the aspects of his mission is that he came to deal with the prominence of impersonalism and voidness that's pervading not only the Western world, but also pervading the whole world. And that's very much in the mood of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura. And Srila Prabhupada manifested this understanding of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura's mission when he composed this very nice poem, and I'm just going to recite 2 lines from it, which Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur commented, "He has understood my mission. That absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. In personal calamity, thou hast moved." Now, what does that mean? Absolute is sentient. That's very interesting. That means the highest aspect of the absolute supreme personality of Godhead, or absolute truth, or however you may say it, is a person. Not impersonal, not the Brahman, which comes from him, as Krishna says in the Gita, what Brahmano, he pratishtaham. So he's a person. So really, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur concentrated on this mission during his manifested pastimes, and he would be challenging so many what we call impersonalists who think the ultimate realization is impersonal or void, and voidist too. And sometimes he would challenge the impersonalists in a way that was quite physical. He would say, if you think everything is one, and he'd grab them by their collar, not hurting them, no abuse there. He would say, if you think everything is one, why aren't you just wearing a piece of cotton instead of the shirt? And the guy didn't know what he was doing. And so we had a similar experience when we went to the university, used to preach at the universities. Some people would come up to us and say, everything is one. And then I'd grab their wallet and I'd say, okay, your wallet is my wallet. Your bicycle is my bicycle. And they said, we didn't mean it like that. So that's a very good way to disprove this impersonal philosophy. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is also known as a ray of Vishnu. Now, what does that mean? Okay, let's go back a little bit and talk about his father. His father was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was married and had children. And he was a pure devotee coming down from the spiritual world, like his great son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, like Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya in ISKCON. So as he was meditating on the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that mission is Dinahina Yata Chilo Harinam Udarilo, to give everyone the holy name, he was thinking, I need someone really to change the face of this earth, and someone who is basically free from all entanglement and can travel everywhere, and someone who is empowered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and someone who is the right-hand man of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so he prayed very enthusiastically, just like Advaita Acharya prayed for the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's a very similar, parallel type of prayer. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed for the advent of Lord Chaitanya's right-hand man. And so as a result of that, in February 6, 1874, in Jagannath Puri, is a very holy place. Of course, that's the place of Lord Jagannath, where the mood of separation is very much prominent. And Lord Chaitanya spent his final years on this planet in Jagannath Puri. So this young child appeared. He was the 6th child in a family of 13 and the 4th of 8 sons, and by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife, Bhagavati Devi. And even from his birth, he manifested signs of a great personality. Of course, we have Krishna, who obviously manifests signs of a great personality because Krishna is born with earrings. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was born with the umbilical cord around his neck. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was born with the umbilical cord around his neck, just like we see the Brahman thread. So that was a sign of a great personality. And even in the very early years of his life, when he was having the grain ceremony, we all know the grain ceremony when you're first getting your grains, usually sweet rice like that. He actually refused to eat any regular grains. And it was the same time that the Rath Yatra festival was taking place. So what happened is the Rath Yatra cart, which proceeded down the main road, stopped in front of their house. And it couldn't be moved. Now, we see in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, a very similar thing occurred. The Rath Yatra cart stopped, and even King Prataparudra's horses and elephants and men could not move this Rath Yatra cart. Finally, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to put his head behind the cart, and he pushed the cart. So it was a pastime of the Lord, an interplay between Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in a similar way, Lord Jagannath's cart stopped in front of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, and nobody could move it. So Srimati Bhagavati Devi, the wife of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, she took advantage and took her son out, her little son, who was ready for his first grains, but hadn't taken his first grains. And she put him right at the feet of Lord Jagannath, because that's the time when everybody can go on the cart of Lord Jagannath and take his darshan. And so as soon as he touched, his head touched the feet of Lord Jagannath, a garland fell, and it encircled this little child. Now, that's just not an accident. When we look at the deities and the garland falls, or there's someone, the deities throw a flower at you, happens sometimes. I've seen that. It means that Krishna is saying something. So Krishna was indicating, here's a great personality. And that's the time he actually took his first grains. So first grains were given, was prasad from the temple. And actually prasad from, that came from Lord Jagannath and also went to Bimala Devi. Bimala Devi is the presiding goddess of Jagannath Puri. And so from then on, he also became known as Bimala Prasad. So he had all these names, Bimala Prasad. So then at age 3, something really miraculous happened, that he was wandering around his father's house, and he grabbed a mango. And, you know, little children grab mangoes, and he ate the mango. So what's wrong with that? What's so miraculous about that? Well, his father mildly said, you know, this is really not the system. We do eat mangoes, but we offer the mangoes first to Krishna, because Krishna in the Gita says what? One who eats something without offering to him is eating karma. You don't want to eat karma. You want to eat bhakti, and that's prasadam. So he, at that point, 3 years of age. I mean, how many kids 3 years of age can understand things like this? You can try that with a 3-year-old. Any of you have 3-year-olds. Try telling your 3-year-old it's not appropriate. They don't have the ability to reason at that age. You know, the brain has to develop. I mean, most people don't become adults until they're 35 or 40 and understand these things. So, but he said, from now on, I am not ever going to eat another mango. And for the rest of his manifest pastimes, he never ate a mango. Even when his disciples later on offered him a mango, he said, no, I'm too sinful. Can you imagine that? Determination. 3 years old. How many 3-year-olds are determined? Not many. Not many that I've seen. Not any that I've seen. What to speak of, not many. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his father, noticed his special determination and started to really teach him about Krishna consciousness, had him chanting japa. And at the age of 7, he had the whole Bhagavad Gita memorized and could explain it, not just memorize. Like sometimes you find the little kids, they could just like rote memorization. What does it mean? And they'll just give the rote translation, blah, 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 blah. Do you know what that means? No, it's blah, 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 blah. You know, they just do, and all the parents are watching. Isn't my kid cute? But he doesn't understand a word that he said. Right? It's done for the parents' edification more than the child's. Because, you know, we want to entertain parents in the Krishna conscious movement. So anyway, parents like to see their kid on the stage and doing all sorts of things like that. But the child is thinking, I remember when I was young, of course, wasn't Krishna conscious. I'd be on the stage doing things and I hated it, but my parents said, isn't he cute? So anyway, so he was able to explain the verses according to Krishna consciousness. Amazing. At the age of 7 years old, he was giving Bhagavad Gita classes. Then later on, 1881, when he was about 8 or 9, he was given the service of worshiping this Kurmadev deity that was uncovered by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur when he was excavating for a temple. And then from the age of 7, he started wearing tilak, chanting his japa and everything like that, and tulsi leaves and everything like that. So he had an exceptional ability to remember anything. He had photographic memory. He was able to read different passages in the scriptures and remember them even 30 years afterwards, or 50 years afterwards when he was old. He was able to remember anything he had read 50 years before. In fact, Prabhupada called him a living encyclopedia because the way he actually learned to perfect his English is he picked up the dictionary and memorized all the words in the dictionary. That's why sometimes we read some of his writings and we think, what does that mean? I need a dictionary. Even though I'm a native English speaker, it's just very erudite. If you read his commentaries on the Brahma Samhita, it's quite amazing and quite precise. It's not that he's just throwing out words. Very, very precise usage of words. He was not interested in playing with the other boys, and his favorite books were the books by Narottama Das Thakur named the Prarthana and Prema Bhakti Chandrika, which we utilize every day in the Krishna consciousness movement. Some of the books, some of the songs from these books, like Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. That's Narottama Das Thakur's work. So even he had so much knowledge that once upon a time there was a Babaji who was very much respected by everyone. And he refused, this is a little kid, refused to offer his respects to this Babaji. And the Babaji asked Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, why didn't your son offer respects to me? And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, he's taken a vow never to offer obeisances to a sahaja. A sahaja means someone who takes something very cheap. Like someone, in our Krishna conscious movement, we understand what? You can come to understand what your eternal relationship with Krishna is. You know, whether you're a coward boy, whether you're a servant, whether you're a gopi, whether you're a parent of Krishna. So sometimes we find people come to our movement and after 2 weeks, they're gopis. Or they think they're gopis. Or they come in the temple. And you see this in India a lot. Someone will come in the temple, start rolling on the ground in ecstasy. Oh, Govinda. Hoo-hoo. We asked Prabhupada, what should we do with him? And Prabhupada said, kick him out. So That's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was able to see through different facades that people were putting on, these false images that people were putting on. So as he grew up in 1888, he started studying astronomy, and at the age of 15, he was so expert, his teachers gave him the name Siddhanta Saraswati. That's where he got the name. Siddhanta means one who knows the perfect conclusion. Saraswati, of course, is the name of the goddess of learning. So one who is very learned and knows the perfect conclusion of philosophy. Even published an edition of the Surya Siddhanta in 1893, in which he chastised all the astrologers as not knowing what they were doing. We're going to hear a little bit about that later on. That let's see some other things. So after a while, he entered the university, 1892, Calcutta Sanskrit College. And what happened during this particular time is he learned Sanskrit grammar in 3 months. Now, normally Prabhupada said it takes at least 11 or 12 years. And his pundits said to him, you should not finish the perusal of Sandhi. That's an aspect of Sanskrit conjugation. He said, it took me years in Benares to learn these things. And if you study it properly, you will get liberated. This is his teacher. He said to his teacher, I reject you then. The goal of my life is not to be a master of grammar, which he was a master of grammar, nor liberation, but I want to worship Lord Hari. So at the college, he also had a clash with the professor of astronomy. And he had an argument with him, and that it was arranged that there would be a public debate with this professor. I don't know if anyone can picture this, a student having a public debate with a professor at the university. Ooh. I never tried that when I went to the university. I never knew more than my professors to try that. So he actually won the debate, and he had other debates too. Actually, later on, he debated a great astrologer, one of the most famous astrologers. And when he won the debate, the astrologer had a call of nature. I'm not going to describe that, what it means, when he debated him. So he was actually eventually kicked out of school, the university. But he said it was his desire to be kicked out of the university, because he said, if I had remained in the university, there would have been pressure for me to get a job and get married. He said, I want to devote my life to the service of Lord Hari. You know, such dedication. But he did work from 1895 to 1905 for the king of Tripura. And he disentangled himself by 1905. And during that time, he started observing great austerities, particularly what we call Chaturmasha. Chaturmasha means the 4 months of the rainy season in India. He would only take rice cooked by his own hand, and he would eat directly from the ground, and only once, and he slept on the earthen floor of his hut without any bedding at all. Just austerity. You may say, oh, this is really, this is really cruel and unusual punishment or whatever. But he was immersed in Krishna consciousness. He wasn't miserable. You know, you look at these devotees like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, executing these great austerities, giving up eating, giving up sleeping. But at the same time, they were in so much ecstasy. Just like a little child, if a child is playing, he can give up eating too, because he's having a good time. The mother is saying, come home, it's time to eat. He doesn't hear her. So the pure devotee, I'm just making a parallel here, you know, metaphor. The pure devotee is experiencing the same thing. He's in so much ecstasy that he doesn't notice anything else. So anyway, so he was executing all these austerities. Then when he was 25, he was ordered by his father to take initiation from Gorkashodas Babaji Maharaj, who was a very simple, pure devotee of the Lord, consider Babaji. Just check so make sure we're still online. Whoops. Check here. So he was very simple, and he wasn't very educated either. He was basically illiterate in many different ways. So this is what happened. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took this request from his father as a means to manifest his humility. Because actually, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was not proud, but he took his father's order to take initiation from a pure devotee, Babaji, who was illiterate, but he's a pure devotee, to bring him down to earth. Actually, he wasn't thinking anything. There wasn't any pride in his consciousness at all, but he took it in this particular way. So he approached him. Please give me initiation. Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj had vowed never to give initiation to anyone. And he begged Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, please give me initiation. And Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said, basically, I have to ask Lord Chaitanya. And so what happened is that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came back a second time. Did you ask Lord Chaitanya? And Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said, no, I forgot to ask Lord Chaitanya. And then he came back a third time. Did you ask Lord Chaitanya? And he said, Lord Chaitanya said, no. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was so determined. He said, and this is a direct quote, without your mercy, weeping and weeping, I will no longer be able to maintain my life. So eventually, Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj initiated. He was the only disciple of Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So here's a quote from Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada. So he asked Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj to be a spiritual master. He was told by his father to do this. His father said, you go and take your initiation from Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And so he was thinking, I am a great scholar and the son of a magistrate, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and a great Vaishnava. He'll be very much pleased to accept me. At the beginning, he refused. He refused because, of course, that is only show. He was not proud, just to teach us. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained that I was a little proud, so I was thrice refused by my spiritual master. And, oh, here's a quote by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said, when out of false ego, I was thinking I'm a great scholar. This is actually a Vaishnava humility. He was never really thinking he was a great scholar. He's always wanting to be he always was a pure devotee of Krishna and always just wanted to be a humble servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, the devotee thinks that of himself. Even though someone's desire may be just, I just want to serve Krishna, but he's thinking, I'm very fallen. I have all this false pride. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself prays, oh, Gopinath, I'm a materialistic rascal. Please take this sinner weeping and weeping to your lotus feet. Vishaya Durjana. Mamana Vedana Shuno. That's Bengali. I have no good qualities. Please take this sinful rascal weeping and weeping to your lotus feet. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I'm a great scholar. Let any big pundit come at any time of the day and night, and I will cut his propositions to pieces. At that time, this is his words, I got the darshan of the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev. He ignored everything that was previously appreciated in me, my truthfulness, my moral and pious life, and my intellectualism, knowing them to be of little value. When I saw that he ignored whatever is good in me, I realized how good he himself must be, who could neglect so many good qualities in me. What inconceivable wealth he possessed. So there's more here, but we don't have time to read it all. his appreciation of Srila Gokishore Das Babaji. And so after initiation, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur moved away from all of his government work. And even when devotees later on asked him about astrology or particularly palmistry, devotees would sometimes come up to him and say, please read my palms. Please do my horoscope. So he would always reply in the same way. He'd read their palms or do their horoscope and said, all bad. Can you imagine that? You know, you go to a famous astrologer and he reads, I have bad news for you. All bad. So he would do that to discourage people from taking shelter of mundane means. Even astrology is mundane. And he would say, just chant Hare Krishna. All bad, just chant Hare Krishna. Because by chanting Hare Krishna, you can mitigate any bad influence in your horoscope. You don't have to worry about Rahu or Ketu. It's like I tell that story many times about Hanuman, who Rahu came to and said, it's your time, Hanuman. And he said to Rahu, okay, sit on my head. And then Hanuman took some big boulders and put them on top of Rahu and said, Rahu said, save me. And Hanuman said, okay, goodbye. So it says that one takes shelter of Hanuman, or specifically Krishna's holy names. You never have to worry about these things. And even inauspicious things become auspicious because it helps you become more renounced from this material world. You know, there's actually a bright side to Rahu, even though you may not know that. So there's another interesting story. In 1902, there was a devotee named Radhacharana Das Babaji, Radharaman Charana Das Babaji, who was propagating this bogus mantra in Jagannath Puri. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, being the Sringa Guru, could not tolerate anything bogus. He challenged him, and basically because this particular individual was so popular, there was almost a riot in Jagannath Puri, and Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur had to send his son away just to protect him. And later on, this Radhacharana Das Babaji, he actually developed some sort of leprosy and died because of his offenses at the great devotee's feet. In 1905, he took a vow to chant 1 billion names of Krishna, and he lived in this grass hut in Mayapur near the place where Lord Chaitanya appeared, which is called the Yoga Pith. And he did this 1905 to 1909, and he didn't even repair the hut he was living in. He just held an umbrella if it was raining. He didn't, basically almost ate nothing, unstitched cloth. He would just eat plain rice in a clay pot and slept on the earthen floor of the hut for all that time. And even in the heat of the summer, he'd just close the door and keep chanting all the time. Such austerities. And it's described in some of the biographies that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, now it's time to go out and preach. So he sort of stopped his Nam Bhajan and sent him out to preach Krishna consciousness. Another interesting thing happened in 1911. There was a challenge by some of the smarters, those people who were actually into ritualistic brahminical activities. He challenged them. He challenged them, and his father had actually been challenged too, but his father, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, didn't want to go because he had rheumatism. And so he went there and defeated the Smartas by first glorifying the Smarta Brahmins. And then later on, after he glorified them, after they put their, left their guard down, he defeated them. And after about 3 or 4 days, everybody was appreciative of him. In fact, everyone was rushing out to touch his lotus feet and to get his shelter. And the guards were protecting him because if you have like 1,000 people rushing up to touch your feet, it can be quite dangerous. So the guards stopped everybody and they picked up Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and dunked his feet into a barrel of water and then sprinkled the water on everyone's head. And so he, shortly after that, after his spiritual master disappeared in 1915, he had a dream in which a spiritual master appeared, Bhaktivinoda Thakur appeared, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who is the guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, appeared in the dream. The 6 Goswamis, the Panchatattva appeared in the dream. And of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was part of the Panchatattva. And they said to him, this is a dream that he related, Saraswati, why are you worrying? Begin the task of distributing Shuddha Bhakti. Distribute Gora Prema universally. Expand the service of Gora Nam. We are eternally with you, ready to help you. You will have the support of unlimited people, and boundless scholarship awaits your blessing to serve your mission. Everything will manifest. No worldly hindrance or menace will be yours to obstruct this undertaking of yours. So in 1918, he took sannyas from a picture of his spiritual master, and he adapted the type of sannyas that Vaishnavas from that day forward accept in order to facilitate preaching. Because traditionally, the Gaudiya Vaishnava type of sannyas was a Babaji type of sannyas. In other words, if I was taking sannyas in a traditional fashion, I'd just be wearing a white lungi right now. No shirt, no mobile phone. That's it. No socks, no shoes. So that's Babaji. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur studied the different other groups that were preaching successfully, like the Ramakrishna Mission, and in South India, the followers of Ramanujacharya, and he adopted a similar form of sannyas, and that's the type of sannyas I took, in order to facilitate preaching so the people would listen to Krishna. Because that's the meaning of sannyas, because in the Vedic literatures, it is prohibited in Kali Yuga to take sannyas. That's one of the items prohibited. But for the purpose of preaching, one can change one's dress and take sannyas if it is effective in spreading Krishna consciousness. So he was able to spread Krishna consciousness, open up 64 mosques or temples all over India, started a daily newspaper called the Nadia Prakash, daily Krishna conscious newspaper. You know, his question, how can you have a daily newspaper about Krishna consciousness? And we see that Krishna consciousness is unlimited. There's unlimited topics, unlimited pastimes of the Lord. And as far as the news and mundane newspapers, of course, we don't have newspapers nowadays, mundane websites, it's all repetitive. You know, this person attacked this person, this bomb went off here. And of course, in America, this person shot so many people, isn't it? It's very repetitive. So people never learn. So he set up this, and his life was so austere still, he would get up at 2 a.m. and chant and have his sadhana every morning. One of his favorite preaching verses was a quote from Prabhupada Saraswati from the Chaitanya Chandramrita, and which translates as, taking a straw in my mouth, I go to you, and though you are a very wonderful person, I request you to please give up all your nonsense ideas and just take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Can you imagine saying that to someone? You're a very wonderful person, but you give up all your nonsense ideas. And here's more of that. I take a straw in my mouth, I fall down at your feet and flatter you. Oh, sir, you are such a great, intelligent man. There's no one greater than you. You are so intelligent, rich, and beautiful. You may ask, why are you so humble? Why are you flattering me? What is your intention? Tell me. Oh, you are a great sadhu. You've learned so many nice things. I know, but kick them out, please. Whatever nonsense rascaldom you have learned, whatever hogwash things are in your brain, kick them all out. Throw them all far away and place all your love in the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga. So, of course, in 1922, he also met His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, in Calcutta and Uttadanga on a rooftop, where he gave Srila Prabhupada his mission that you are intelligent boys, he said to Srila Prabhupada and his friend Naren. You should preach this Chaitanya's mission, or Chaitanya's message in English and in the Western countries. And Prabhupada, of course, at that point said to him, but how can we do this if India is just a captive nation? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur defeated that particular argument. And then from that day forward, Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, accepted Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as his eternal guru, although he didn't take initiation for 11 years after that. So, see a little bit more information about him. He started 64 ashrams, mas. He established the holy places all over India where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had visited. Padas called Pada Tirthas. And anyone who's taken a tour of South India, which I've done, we go and see these places. The Pada Tirtha means the imprints of Lord Chaitanya's feet. You'll find them in Tirupati, you'll find them in Srirangam, you'll find them in Kanchi, practically speaking, all throughout South India, the South Indian tour, which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took. He was exemplary in cleanliness. He would always say cleanliness is next to godliness. So a few days before he passed away, and showered all of his blessings upon his disciples. And here's his final instructions, which we'll end the class with. With the utmost enthusiasm, preach the message of Rupa and Raghunath. That's Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. Our ultimate goal is to become a speck of dust touching the lotus feet of all the followers of Rupa Goswami. All of you remain united in allegiance to the spiritual master. The spiritual master is called Ashraya Vigraha. That means the form of shelter. In order to satisfy the senses of the transcendental supreme person, do not give up the worship of Hari, even amidst hundreds of dangers, hundreds of insults, or hundreds of persecutions. Interesting. Tests. Do not become unenthusiastic upon seeing that the majority of the people in the world are not accepting the message of Krishna's sincere worship. Never give up the glorification of the topics of Krishna. They are your own personal bhajan and your very all in all. Being humble like a blade of grass and tolerant like a tree. Of course, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shikshashtaka. Constantly glorify Hari. So in the early hours of the day on January 1st, 1937, of course, we're observing on the Vaishnava Tithi, which is following the moon calendar rather than the sun calendar, which is today, actually. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur passed away from this mortal world and entered into the Lord's pastimes. This is what we generally say. And he's preaching Krishna consciousness eternally in this world. So we are very fortunate to be connected to such a great personality who is definitely the right-hand man, assistant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we are very fortunate to be connected to his great disciple, the ISKCON founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is also an eternal servant of Prabhupada, who Bhaktivinoda Thakur predicted. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's father, predicted the advent of Srila Prabhupada and the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada's mission was also predicted by Lord Nityananda. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, one day there will appear a great personality who will spread Krishna consciousness all over the world and bring people to Sri Mayapur, and everyone will be chanting from Russia, from America, from all the countries. They'll be chanting Jai Sachinanda and Jai Sachinanda. So we're fortunate to be connected to this great chain of disciplic succession. So thank you very much. We're going to have a Pushpanjali now. Pushpanjali means the worship of a great personality utilizing different mantras and flowers. Pushpa means flowers. It doesn't refer to pushpana rice, which is a type of preparation. What? Yeah, they thought it meant pushpana rice. So Pushpanjali means worship with flowers. So the way we do it, we're going to recite these prayers. We should stand up and we're going to recite these prayers responsively. And then going through all these different prayers, which are called the Mangala Charna prayers. Then we offer our obeisances to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Thakura, and 9 times we're going to offer flowers. Just follow my direction in this particular regard. Okay? We have flowers here. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, please repeat. Om Gana Chimirandasha Gananjana Shilakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shiguro Shiuta Padakamalam Shigurun Vaishnavamscha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvahutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namaom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namade Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Dejatarane Namaom Vishnu Padaya Napastaya Bhutale Shimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namade Shivarshavanavi Devi Goyataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premaja Shirupanuga Bhaktida Shigora Korana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shimurte Dinatarane Rupanuga Vidudapa Siddhanta Dvantaharane Namo Gaurika Shodaya Satchid Vairagya Murtehe Vipralamba Rasambote Padambujaya Te Namaha Namo Bhaktivinodaya Sachidananda Namane Godashakti Sadupaya Rupanuga Purayate Gora Avirbhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripasindu Vyahivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchatattva Atmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktatyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Trishe Namaha Hey Krishna Korana Sindhu Dinabando Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Jayatam Sudatao Pangor Mamamanda Matirgati Matsarvashva Padamboja Radha Madana Mohana Divyad Vrindoranya Kalpa Drumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanasta Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Deva Prestalebi Savyamana Smarami Ashriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamshivata Tatastataha Karshan Venu Swanayar Gopir Gopinata Shri Esnunaha Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hiri Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namane Shivarshavanave Devi Loitaya Krupabdehe Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premaja Shirupanuga Bhaktida Shigora Purana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shimurtaye Dinatarane Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvantaharane Esha Pushpanjali, Esha Pushpanjali, Esha Pushpanjali. Jai Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura. And two more times. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namate Shivarshavanavi Devi Doitaya Kripabdeye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Primadja Shivrupanuga Bhaktida Shigora Kurana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shimurtaye Dinatarane Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvantaharane Esha Pushpanjali Esha Pushpanjali Esha Pushpanjali Jai Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura Prabhupada. Okay, one more time. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namane Shivarshavanavi Devi Goyataya Kripabdaya Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Primadja Shivrupanuga Bhaktida Shigora Korana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shimurtaye Dinatarane Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvantaharane Esha Pushpanjali Esha Pushpanjali Esha Pushpanjali Jai Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Thakura. RT, yes. RT articles are here. Okay, maybe Krishna here.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma 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 Bando Mui Savadana Ma Te Bando Mui Savadana Mate Banda Mui Savadana Mate Banda Mui Savadana Mate
Yahara Prasade Bye Bhavatori Yahara Sade Bye Bhavatori Yahara Prasade Bye Bhavatori Yahara Baba Doriya Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chitete Koriyaya 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 Arana Koriyo Mane Asharana Koriyo Mane Asharana Kori Mane Asharana Mane Ashar Shri Guru Charane Rati Ase Uttamagati Shri Guru Charane Rati Ase Uttamagati Shri Guru Charane Rati Ase Uttamagati Shri Guru Rane Rati Ase Uttamagati Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Asha 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 Chakudan Dilo J. Jami Jami Prabhu say Chakudan Dilo J. Chakudan Dilo J. Janmi Janmi Prabhu say Chakudan Dilo J. Janmi Janmi Divya Gyan Ridi Prakrasita Ridi Prakrasita Divya Gyan Ridi Prakrasita Divya Prakrasita Prema Bhakti Yahoite Avidya Vinyasayatu Prema Bhakti Yahoite Vinyasayatu Prema Bhakti Yahoite Avidya Vinyasayatu Prema Bhakti Hoite Avidya Vinyasayatu Vedikayana Racharita Vedikayana Racharita Vedikayana Racharita Vedikayana Rajarita Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajanara Bandhu Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajanara Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajanara Bandhu Sri Guru Sindhu Adamajanara Lokanath Lokarajivana Lokanath Lokarajivana Lokanath Lokarajivana Lokanath Lokarajivana Ha ha, Prabhu Karadaya, Deamore Padajaya, ha ha, Prabhu Karadaya, De Padajaya, ha ha, Prabhu Karadaya, Deamore Padajaya, ha ha, Prabhu Joya Deamore Padajaya, Abiyasa Skuship Bubana, Abiyasa Skuship Bubana. Amy Asas Kuship Tribubana. Amy Asas Kuship Tribubana. Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Srila Prabhupada Pavana. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tagore. Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Thakur, Jaya Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Thakur, Jaya Bhakti Vedanta Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada. 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. 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 Jaya. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So let's thank Maharaj for the wonderful class on glories of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So it's very wonderful to hear Maharaj cover the entire life of Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, starting from his birth and the pastime of mango and all the way going on till the final pastime. So thank you so much, Maharaj. So